almost there. Ah, there it is. All right, it is 6 o'clock and time for the regularly scheduled CUNA council meeting. Nathan, would you take the roll, please?
Councilmember McPherson?
Here.
Councilmember Biggs?
Here.
Councilmember Laraway?
Here.
Council President Bruce?
Here.
Mayor Steer?
Here, and if you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. The first item is a consent agenda. Questions or comments, or motion, anything you want pulled for discussion?
Okay.
All those options?
We went over most of it. I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Nathan, would you poll the council, please?
Councilmember McPherson?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Laraway?
Yes.
Council President Bruce?
Yes.
And that motion carries. Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address the council? I see we have Beverly Wolf. And if you would just state your name and address for the record, please.
Beverly Wolf, 3420 West Commemoration Avenue, Meridian. Kind of had a general statement because of a lot of different things that are on the agenda tonight. But the basis is that words matter. It's said that someday we are held accountable for every word we say. Some statements like, I love you, or I hate you, or I'm going to sue you if I don't get what I want are pretty clear. But then there's other subtle words like, let's rename Title V and Title VI, the Developers Code. That kind of gets into a fuzzier area. I've been coming here for quite a while, and I've sat through and I've heard a lot of things in these chambers. And some examples of things I've heard here are, don't worry, if there's too much opposition, I'll use big words. Or the school district should have known that the development was coming and gotten their bond passed. Or how about this one? I guess the parents aren't feeling enough pain yet. That's why they didn't pass the bond. Or when citizens stand up and say, this area is unsafe, this road should be called Dead Cat, not Black Cat. Or how about we'll fix it later? I guess the problem is there's a lot of stuff that has to be done. Everybody works really hard, but everything goes so fast that nobody's paying attention to all the details. And there's a lot of details that I think possibly get missed, and that maybe it's time to slow down and really maybe go back and look at some of it. These words meant a lot to me when I found them at the bottom of your comprehensive plan. Nothing in the United States Constitution's Fifth Amendment requires a government entity to promote the maximum development of a site at the expense of the public purse or to the detriment of the public interest. Taxpayers need not subsidize unwise development. And unwise development doesn't mean it wasn't planned well, that it didn't check all the boxes, but what's it doing to your citizens? People are hurting. People's costs of living are going up. I'll tell you about the details of that another time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf.
Is there anyone else who wished to that didn't sign in? All right. Let's see, we have the Denim Day proclamation. Whereas the United States government has declared April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the WCA has declared April 24th, 2024 as Denim Day. And whereas both events are intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual assault remains a serious issue in our society, whereas harmful attitudes about sexual assault allow these crimes to persist and allow survivors to be re-victimized, and whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Denim Day were also instituted to call attention to the misconceptions and misinformation about rape and sexual assault, and the problem that many in society remain disturbingly uninformed with respect to issues of assault. And whereas every 68 seconds someone in America is sexually assaulted and approximately 1 in 4 women are raped during their lifetime, and whereas the proper education on the matter, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing incidents of this alarming and physiologically damaging crime, whereas the city of Kuna is an important partner in the efforts of the WCA to educate about the true impact of rape and sexual assault. Now therefore, I, Joe Steer, Mayor of the City of Kuna, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2024 in the city of Kuna as Denim Day. And did we have anybody in the audience? Okay, thank you. This next one is the Day of Prayer Proclamation. Whereas throughout history, America has faced trials and triumphs, and Americans have responded in prayer, seeking courage and comfort, inspiration, and joy-filled celebration, faith compels us to seek and cling to the light in times of darkness and spread light to those in need. Whereas from the first gatherings of our founding fathers, elected officials have prayed and entreated those who serve and represent to join them in prayer, including the authors of our Declaration of Independence, wrote that they, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled appealing the Supreme Judge of the world. And whereas a National Day of Prayer has not only been a part of our heritage since the day it was declared the first Centennial Congress in 1775, but it is a public law established in the United States Congress in 1952, approved by a joint resolution and amended by Congress and President Reagan with Public Law 100-307 in 1988, affirming that it is essential for us as a nation to pray, and directs the President of the United States to set aside a proclamation the first Thursday of May annually as a National Day of Prayer. Whereas every first Thursday of May on the National Day of Prayer, we not only express our faith and exercise our freedom in prayer, but unite our hearts and voices in personal prayer and public gatherings throughout our cities, across America, with fervent praise, repentance, love, and humble intercession for our neighbor and nation. And whereas in our city and across America, the observance of National Day of Prayer will be held on Thursday, May 2nd, with the theme, Lift Up the World, Light Up the World, based on the verses in Samuel 22:29 through 31. Now therefore, I, Joe Steer, Mayor of the City of Kuna, Idaho, do hereby proclaim May 2nd, 2024, throughout the city of Kuna as the National Day of Prayer. All right, thank you. That takes us to item 7A, case numbers 2306AN, annexation, and 2305-S, preliminary plat. Troy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. For the record, Troy B. Hunan, Kuna Planning and Zoning Staff, 751 West 4th Street here in Kuna. The application is before you this evening, requests annexation of approximately 12.49 acres and applying the R6 and the R12 zones. The applicant requests preliminary plat approval in order to divide the 12.49 acres into 73 total residential units, 21 single-family lots, and 1 multifamily lot, and 4 common lots. Public Works in Exhibit 2.20 states that they can support the Bristol Creek subdivision development with the conditions that are listed in the engineer's memo. Planning and Zoning Department staff does agree with the conditions listed in his memo. Staff has reviewed the proposed annexation and the preliminary plat application and find that it is in compliance with CUNA City Code, Idaho State Statute 50-222 and 6765, the CUNA Comprehensive Plan, and should the council approve the applications this evening, staff recommends that the applicant be subject to the proposed recommended conditions that are outlined in staff's memo. The applicant is present tonight, and they do have a presentation, and I will be here if you have any questions for staff.
Okay, any questions for Troy?
Not at this time.
Okay, yeah, if the applicant would like to come forward and present.
This is not mine, but I'd be happy to present it. There we go. All right, good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. Katie Miller, Bailey Engineering, 1119 East State Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. Thank you, Troy. The application before you tonight is for an annexation zone and a preliminary plat. The site location is on the northeast corner of 10 Mile and Hubbard Road for a total of 12.5 acres. This is a picture of your future land use map showing our site right here, which is designated as mixed use. To the north of us is medium density. To the east, mixed use. And I believe this has been annexed in zone to commercial, R20, and R6. And then this parcel on the south remains in the county as rural residential currently. As Troy mentioned, for tonight, we are requesting a zoning designation of R6 around our perimeter to match up with the neighbors, and then one lot of multifamily internally with an R12 zoning designation. The project before you does meet your comprehensive plans and goals for that. And then here's the preliminary plat. There's 21 single-family residential lots, again, on the perimeter of the site, we tried to match existing homes on the other side of the state lateral. Internally, you have 13 fourplex units for a total of 52 units on that. Pathways and connectivity. We have a 10-foot pathway, which is part of your master pathway plan, which will eventually lead out and go to 10 Mile once this parcel here develops. That's along 10 Mile Road. Pathways throughout, attached sidewalks. We've added this pathway here per the school district for a future bus station down here. Required open space on this site is 7.5%. We are offering 15.7%, and that is not including any of the buffers. I want to go back up here for amenities. Up here is a dog park, a fenced dog park along the lateral. Here we have a open space for kids to play in. Over here there is a covered picnic shelter as well as a playground. Accesses to the site, one will be off of Hubbard Road. The other one to the north will be a connection to an existing subdivision crossing over the state lateral. Utilities for the site are available in 10 Mile and Hubbard. And then obviously, you know, the sewer issue of limiting 40 EDUs per phase on a first come, first served basis. Due to that, we'll have a phasing plan. Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Anyhow, phase one would be on this north side with 38 units, so we'll have that, and then not exceeding that 40 EDUs, and then if the sewer capacity is available, we'd proceed with phase two. Some of the elevations. We'll have both single, two-story, three-car, and two-car garage product in this development. Quickly go through that. Again, we agree with the conditions of approval. I wanted to touch, we don't have renderings of the fourplex units in here right now because we're looking at redesigning some of those. Also, we have to come back before you with a design review application for those fourplexes. So you will see them and have an opportunity to look at that in the future. And I will stand for any questions.
Okay, questions for the applicant?
Not at this time.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And this is a public hearing. I didn't have anybody sign up to testify. Is there somebody who wishes to? I'll just write your name.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Danielle Horace, CUNA School District, 711 East Porter. I just want to share that this district, the school district that we are in, is full. I'm going to share with you the numbers that are specific to this development. I'm showing that this is in Indian Creek, and that school has 308 kids. Or sorry, the capacity for Indian Creek is 308. We already have 300. And that's with all the other ones that we've already approved. So we are at 97% capacity right now, with more coming in. KMS is at 91% capacity. And we're really hurting at KHS in Swan Falls. We're at 103% capacity for that school. So I just want to share that that's the current state of the numbers that exist. And it looks like this would be a great subdivision for families. I see the multifamily housing, the affordable housing. While I support that, there just simply isn't capacity to support the kids that would be generated from it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And I looked at the wrong sheet. Beverly Wolf?
Beverly Wolf, 3420 West Commemoration Avenue in Meridian. And I'm going to echo the school issue because it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. You're going to squeeze 73 families, we're assuming more than one person, on 12 and a half acres. So I was curious, is the open space the driveways and the parking and the sidewalks? I mean, I saw little green patches, but I didn't see too much around the fourplexes. And the schools are part of the costs that are going to increase, and the need for the schools, which we're already past that. But everything else goes up. Insurance goes up because of the density. Homeowners insurance has gone up. Auto insurance has gone up. I'm assuming crime goes up a little bit. When do we stop and look? When do you stop all of it and figure it out? I don't know. I'm just asking. Please consider it. Rule of law, fear of lawsuit, those are all great. But no offense, even our city attorney, in one of the things that we were reviewing a few weeks ago, said he doesn't actually read the documents behind the developments, because that's not his job. It's your job. It's our job to look at and protest. We've gotten lots of protests in the last year about the density and the areas and the traffic, and we keep getting these great reports on what ACHD and Idaho, the other district, how do they cumulatively add the traffic? I mean, is anybody really putting it in as a component? Because it seems like they keep looking at these things independently. Like, well, we're going to ignore the 700 homes that are going in over there, and we're just going to look at the 100 over here. I'm not the only one feeling the traffic pain, right, Matt?
Okay, thank you. That was all I had signed up. Is there anybody else who wishes to testify? Okay. I don't know your name, so I'll let you sign in. That's the opposed. Yeah, if you oppose.
Hi, my name's Robbie Miller. My address is 1553 North Alcatraz Avenue in Cuna, Idaho. I'm just gonna it's my first time, bear with me here. I'm just basically come along with these people. It's just, I don't see how the growth that we're bringing into this area, while it's good for the taxpayers and good for bringing in revenue, like she said, our schools are at capacity. We are feeling it. My kids go to the schools, they feel it. It's not only the area, how many kids are in the classes, they're not getting the attention that they need in some cases because there's just so many students in the classes. And my son's kind of struggling in one class because of that reason, okay? And so I don't have a whole lot to say on it other than I'm just gonna mirror with what these people are saying, is that I just don't see how we can bring in all of this growth and not have a plan in place for the schools especially. Even EMS, I think, needs some help too. I think there are other projects that we should focus on to help with the growth we already have. I saw something interesting that came through from the school. They're talking about maybe trying to say, hey, we can't bring any more development until the school situation is fixed. I agree with that. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You want to, okay? I'll get you. Go ahead.
Hi, Cindy Geeson, 1363 South Ash Avenue. Once again, you're looking at development that comes into 10 Mile Road, and it's heavily impacted. I've seen the recent funding and that the legislator came up with for ACHD, and it doesn't appear that it's going to happen over there. It's all they have down for Cunas, K, and Avalon. So it's going to be years before we make that road big enough. And I think Matt knows, and I experienced a 15-minute drive from getting off of the highway to just getting to Columbia because of the impact of the traffic. It goes from 2 lanes to 1, and it's just crazy. I don't think anything should be built on Highway 10 until 10 Mile until you guys get a commitment. And additionally, I'm concerned about the townhouses. I've looked at that spot, and I'm just curious how the neighbor that's on 10 Mile feels about having these tall townhouses next to her. Also curious about the people across the street that have this beautiful ranch, you know. And so I just reconsider the townhouses as well. So please
Okay.
catch up and then add things.
All right, thank you. All right, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
For the record, Troy Buchanan, I just want to clarify one small thing, and I believe what Ms. Katie Miller was indicating about the design review is that, generally speaking, a design review application comes back to the city. Generally speaking, the city council doesn't actually hear the design review for any given project unless there's an appeal that goes to the commission. I just wanted to make that distinction. You will not see the design review for any project unless there is an appeal.
So we don't get to pick the color of the house?
I'm sorry, that's the way it goes.
That's a responsibility I don't want, so thank you. Thank you, Troy. All right, then rebuttal.
Katie Miller, 1119 East State Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. What do I click on, Troy? There we go. I want to thank everybody for their comments. It's something that is not foreign to us, school districts being absolutely critical and heavily impacted. We agree with that, and we are very empathetic to that. That being said, the developer has been working very closely. I've been working closely with Robbie Reno. I haven't met Danielle yet, but it's nice to put a face with the name. On land donations. So far, there have been 2 land donations. currently, CUNA is looking for another site for an elementary school, of which we are forwarding concepts of how it fits on a 12-acre piece. So there's been conversations about the somewhat impact fees of the $2,500 per house. Basically, that's essentially to pay for the taxes beforehand instead of in arrears. So for this particular site, that would come out to $171,000. The question and the hard part that comes to us is, how is that going to solve the school problem today versus donating land? So if you took general ag land with nothing else on it, and it was a donation to the school district, that would be at bare minimum $50,000. So that's $800,000 right there for a piece of land that we fit a school site on of CUNA's preference. The particular site we're looking at is on the city boundary, and it's actually annexed into the city, has city services, everything else. So that value of the land is at least $100,000. So you're looking at $1.2 million. In addition to working with the school districts on that, we're also working very closely on how do we help market, work with the school district to get a bond approved, passed, marketed. We work with Valley View very, very closely, developers and civil engineering firms collectively, because Valley View had 2 bonds that failed. Until last May, they got one that passed. We put a serious marketing campaign together to make this happen. We are willing and want to do that to help the CUNA School District, because that is what we need to build the infrastructure. We can donate land, but if you don't have the money to go vertical, like, it doesn't do anybody any good. So we're motivated, we're helping wherever we can, but I think the biggest solution to it is to have a bond get passed to do that, because collecting $2,500 per lot, which is something that's been asked, is not going to solve that problem. It's not the long-term solution to the problem that exists today. So just know we're very empathetic. With that, I just kind of wanted to touch, I apologize, Danielle, I had, looking at your boundary maps the other day, Silver Trail as the elementary school, but nonetheless, everybody's pretty impacted. We agree with that. Keeping construction schedules in mind, because I think that's a really hard thing to conceptualize. We think, okay, if we approve this tonight, then tomorrow we're going to have 73 homes magically in the air. So for phase 1, which I said was 38 units, basically best case scenario, if tonight it was approved, right? You'd start construction about April of 2025. Building permits pulled at the end of 2026. Occupancy late 2026. And then I calculated, I used the most current report for the student generation reports and weighted average to what our community impact would be to the school district. And that'd be a total of 36 students. So with phase 1, at the end of 2027, that would be 18 students. Phase 2, starting construction in 2027, building permits pulled in 2028. Occupancy, mid-2029, and another 18 student impact to the school district in late 2029. So it's not something that's happening tomorrow, and I know there are multiple developments that have been approved, but we do have time to work. Robbie had talked about adjusting school boundaries to make sure we have capacity, things like that. So I guess my point to saying this, we acknowledge the problem. We're working diligently to help find a solution to the problem. And like to just kind of keep that in perspective. As far as the traffic, I'm not a traffic engineer and I'm not gonna pretend to be one. But 10 Mile Road and Hubbard Road right now are operating better than a level E. And this is an acceptable service for a 2-lane minor arterial. That's from ACHD staff report. And then the roundabout at 10 Mile and Hubbard is scheduled to go in 2026. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Questions for the applicant? Yes, go ahead.
A question for you on your, I guess I'm going to call it property line. I noticed that there's a large section along 10 Mile that is not touched and is going to be RR.
Correct. They
Is
sold.
is that part of this Bitter Creek?
It is not, no. That, they did not want to annex into the city. They were the people that sold us the property.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is, if you look at your layout, you only have, well, technically you have one way in, unless you're talking about to the north.
Correct.
And with all these townhouses, all of them being what, 12?
Yeah, 13 in total,
Okay,
correct.
okay. That's a good guess. But it still brings the point that the traffic situation on Hubbard and 10 Mile, they might classify it as such, but come around 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, there's 50 cars at that intersection trying to get through that stop sign. I understand that the roundabout is supposed to be a miracle and fix these things, but it doesn't always. I know this because if you go north on 10 Mile, you cannot get on there in the afternoon because all the traffic coming off of Amity has priority in the circle. Second thing on my concern is you are correct that donating X amount to the school district is not fixing the problem. It's a lot of little Band-Aids. So I'll give you that. But part of the problem we're having, or I'm having, and I will speak personally, is the developers, you, come in and we want to do these projects, and right now, we're looking at 90% taxation on residential, and 10% on commercial. This plot does not change that equation at all. Actually, it makes it worse. That's why I was asking about the potential of that other piece of land, because that's prime commercial, and eventually they will want to annex in, because that's what happens. So technically, that's off the table because it does not belong to you. So those are my concerns. Nobody's ever been able to answer me this. I don't know why it is that developers want to throw R12. It makes no sense to me. You got R6s, things look great, and then they try to cram as many people as they can in what's left. We're not Boise, we're not LA, we're CUNA, we're a small community. And I saw some statistics that were put on by the Boise State University that 77% of the people in Ada County, 77% are tired of the growth. And the traffic came next. I'm not quite sure where this falls. I know mixed use is it's a guideline. Enough of my speech. Thank you.
No, thank you, and if I may respond. No, I understand. Yes, your comprehensive plan does call for a mixed-use designation, which asks for multiple uses within that. That's what we have here. I also want to just come back when we talk about cramming things in the R6 designation. Our density is below the 6 units per acre for the entire site. If it was all single-family residential, it'd still be allowed 6 per the acre. So we're on the medium to low end of the designation for your comprehensive plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Miller, I just have a question. Thank you for coming out. I'm curious on the fourplexes, where are people supposed to park? Because there was I didn't see the design thing, so I'm kind of looking at this map and trying to figure out where people are gonna park.
Yeah, I don't know if I have let me see if I have a better one in here. We do have parking, so you guys, we're over by 6 parking stalls. You guys require 2 per unit plus 1 per visitor, so 3 per unit, and we're a little over that. But this on both sides is all parking, and then parking on both sides of this. Some will be covered and some will be uncovered. So there is adequate parking for the residents and their guests. Additionally, for the single-family residential, you'll have 2, possibly 3 in the garages, and then 2 in the driveway for off-street parking there.
Oh, I definitely don't dispute the single family. It's the fourplexes
Yeah.
where I'm still looking at them. I'm still trying to figure this out because they look pretty dense to me, and then.
Yeah,
I know
there's
they're
adequate.
street, but
There is adequate parking for them, and Troy has seen our preliminary plat, which probably shows it more clearly.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions for the applicant?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys have any questions for Troy or?
I do not.
I make a motion that we close the evidence presentation and move to deliberation.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You want to start?
Me?
Yeah.
Just, I like working on problems after we get a solution, rather than working on, or bringing something now, then work, and then hope, having hopes later that the solution will be fixed for the capacity issues, at the school, which are not gonna go away.
Okay.
I think if you look at the capacity of the school, also the density around that area, you have R20 on the other side that's going to add to those two-lane roads, plus the traffic coming off that end going through the neighborhood. I think we have a lot of homes that we've already approved. Even if they were to pass a bond tomorrow, they're still years out before they put a school in. I just think we should address that. Also, she did make a good point with the money from ACHD. What is going to be allocated down here for those roads and a timeline? I'd like to see that as well.
I kind of look at this map, and we have mixed use to the northwest corner, mixed use to the northeast corner, mixed use to the southeast corner. And I know it's a mixed use on the southwest corner. This is just the first of other complicated things we're gonna have if we keep using these mixed uses to bring in this type of development. These intersections are gonna just get bad. I don't know about the ranch to the southeast. That's been there pretty long time, but I know the land to the west on both sides of Hubbard Road is already being considered for development. I'm not sure where we're at with that, but I know there's a Jackson store that's supposed to come in catty corner from that. I just think this is a lot of mixed use for this one little intersection. I know ACHD says, yeah, we're gonna take care of it. But ACHD has a lot on their plate, and I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to put everything I have on their word. We can't control that. ACHD controls their own priorities. That's all I got.
Okay, Greg?
Well, it's kind of a catch-22, because that area's been kind of a weed patch for a long time, and we try to, fill the hole in the donut every now and then, and this would fix that. The flip side of the coin is, you're right, the schools are crowded, and, the road, I travel up 10 miles sometimes early in the morning, and it's bad, but, there's a lot worse roads, so it's kind of, I'm kind of torn one way or the other on this one.
Yeah, I live on Hubbard, and I use 10 Mile quite a bit, and it's a heavily used road ever since they've added the freeway exit at that end of to the north.
Right. And it doesn't help, there's so many other major roads shut down, Black Cat north of the freeway, Locust Grove's torn up right now, Star Road's torn up farther northwest. So it all funnels more onto the ones that are open, 10 Mile, Linder. Well, Linder's actually closed too, now that I think about it. So it doesn't help, and then they'll go to put a roundabout in there in 26. Sure, that'll just make Linder and Meridian Road worse for a while, and it's like they just shuffle it back and forth and back and forth. And
This is gonna go down your alley, because I know being that that area off over there is still agriculture, there's a lot of farming equipment that still uses 10 Mile to get north and south.
Correct.
That makes things worse.
And we have to look at everything that's gonna come online about the same time as those. The projects across the street from there, the ones down at Columbia. So even if they are still years out to requesting occupancy, but we'll still have the older ones coming on at the same time.
Okay?
Anyone have a motion?
Well, I'll do it. I make a motion that we decline number 23-06 annexation AN and 20.
And just the annexation.
Just the annexation, okay.
I'll second it.
All right, motion's made and seconded to deny 2306 AN annexation. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. That takes us to 7B, case number 2305ZC and 2306S, preliminary plat for Falcon Crest East subdivision. Troy.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. For the record, Troy B. Hunan, CUNA Planning and Zoning staff, 751 West 4th Street here in CUNA. The application before you right now is a request for a rezone for part of the site and a preliminary plat approval in order to subdivide the property into to subdivide the approximate 180 acres into approximately 654 total units, comprised of 605 single-family homes, 36 common lots, and 7 common driveways, 3 private roads, and also 3 golf lots. The applicant is proposing 17.11 acres, or 11.8% of the project is open space, with the gross density proposed at 4.16 dwelling units per acre, while the net density is proposed at 6.25 dwelling units per acre. Public Works conditionally supports the Falcon Crest East subdivision development with conditions that are of that support that are listed in the engineer's memo. The Planning and Zoning Department agrees with the Public Works recommendations. The applicant is proposing 7 private driveways on common lots for clusters of 3 and 4 lots each within the project. Staff has recommended that the applicant be conditioned to work with the city engineer to provide proper easement widths as a whole for the project, and in particular, the clustered homes that are served by these private driveways. Staff has reviewed the proposed rezone for conformance and the preliminary plat for technical compliance and compared it with the recorded development agreement for the Falcon Crest Greater project. Also with Title V and Title VI and CUNA City Code and the CUNA Comprehensive Plan. And should the council approve the rezone and the preliminary plat, staff recommends that the applicant be staff recommends that the applicant be conditioned to comply with the conditions outlined in the staff's memo. The applicant is present tonight, and he does have a small presentation, and I will be here for any questions that you might have.
Okay, any questions for Troy?
None yet.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mark Tate with the M3 Companies, 1673 Shoreline Drive, Suite 200, Boise, Idaho, 83702 for the record. Thank you all for having us tonight. I won't spend a ton of time going through the history, because I know I've done that a number of times with all of you. We're making great progress in the project. We're very excited about how things are turning out there. The master plan right here, just to kind of recap, what's in front of you guys tonight is this area D and area J, which is outlined with the red bubble there. All the kind of yellowish area here is all the 55 and older Trilogy at Valor community. This is the club associated with that community. These areas were previously approved in another preliminary plat called the Valor Golf Villages. We hadn't included parcel J yet. We weren't exactly sure on what kind of product we wanted to put into that neighborhood, but we've settled on a single family product in there. All of G, H, I, and J, which is the golf villages, is all gated. That was actually at ACHD's request. ACHD in the city also approved private streets for the 55 and older area as well. So this would be the last preliminary plat for the 55 and older area and the last preliminary plat for parcel J. We have now 4 actually other approved preliminary plats. Falcon Crest South, and now Falcon Crest East will finish up the 55 and older area. This area, Robin Hood subdivision, is nearly built out now at this point, along with the Cadet Golf Course that was built in here. That's the executive course. Homes are now being built in parcels G and H. Those are under construction now. And then the first phase of this larger lot area in here is under development right now. Valor West was approved as a preliminary plat. That will come back actually in front of you to discuss a modification to that preliminary plat that I think you guys are aware of as well. That application is not in front of you quite yet, but we're working on that. Just a little bit of history with the development agreement. The project was approved for 2,322 homes as a maximum number of dwellings. We do have flexibility inside of the development agreement to move some of that density around. This preliminary plat has 606 single-family lots. The rough parcels that encompass this in our original density map total about 640, so we're slightly below what was predicted in these areas, and you'll see actually to dovetail on your R12 versus R6 conversation, this does include a rezone from R12 to R6. So you said you don't see that very often, so I'd like to point out, I guess, every once in a while you might see that. So we are going to stick with a single family product. At one point we thought about going a little bit denser in the 55 and older, and we've elected to go with the R6 standards in that area. Hence the slightly lower lot numbers. It doesn't mean that the 23-22 number is going to change. It just means it can kind of shift around a little bit within the project. Just a quick project update. Got to get away from these renderings, but that sign is up, the landscaping's in. We're going to be doing a bunch of sidewalk and frontage improvements along this. I think we just got our permit to do that recently. This area now has houses on probably 75% of the lots in this area. This is that Cadet short course that I talked about. The roundabout that was built in the project. Short course. This is the club, the Trilogy at Valor. This is the athletic club that is now open. Pickleball's open, and you can see this was the foundation. This was this winter, obviously. This building is totally framed in, and I believe the grand opening is scheduled for this summer, and that's a dining and social club in that area. So really excited to see a dining option. I believe out of at the beginning, that dining option will be open to the general public as well. So we're pretty excited to have that out there, which is not, there's not a lot of dining options right now for folks in eastern Kuna. This is another shot of the social club there. And this is the overall plan for Falcon Crest East. As I mentioned, all of this area, which is the vast majority of the lots, is 55 and older, age restricted. This area in the Golf Villages is not age restricted. We are seeing a demographic in that area that mirrors an age restricted community, just given the price point, the golf orientation, that sort of thing. We'll include another community swimming pool, community park located in that area. Those open space numbers that Troy provided, that was also net of the golf course. If you add the golf course into those open space numbers, it's quite a bit higher than that, as you can imagine. I believe that's all I have for you. And I would stand for any questions.
All right, hey, Mark, if you would roll back up to page 190, the Falcon Crest entitlement summary.
Yep.
I've lost my bearings there, and I don't remember where the St. Jude's house that you guys built.
Yeah, great question. Yep, so in Golf Village A, that's in the Reveille neighborhood. So we did the St. Jude Dream Home last year. We raised $2 million for cancer research, which was just incredible. It's been the most popular dream home that they've done in a decade. And I think that just speaks to the excitement about the project in general, as well as an incredible cause. So yeah, we did the St. Jude Dream Home right there.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else for me?
Any further questions?
No.
Mr. Tate?
No.
All right, thank you. And I didn't have anybody sign up to testify in this matter. Is there anybody who wishes to? Okay. Okay.
Since I believe we have a First Beverly Wolf, 3420 West Commemoration Avenue, I believe we're sitting here with two large developers in the room, so I have a challenge for them. Instead of marketing to the taxpayers, why don't you go lobby to our government and get our sales tax money back, directed back to our schools? The money that was taken away, I believe it's 7 years now? And it's cost the school district multiple hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions.
All right, Cindy?
I'm neutral. Cindy Geeson, 1363 South Ash Avenue. I just had a question. Last time we looked at Falcon Crest, they emphasize 55 and older. And in my opinion, I know a lot of people that are that age and they have their children and grandchildren. And we had a question about schools and their answer, because they were developing a lot right in the little park area that's going to be public park, I guess. And then they were talking about their community pool, which they admitted was going to be just for the community, not the public. But also they said that they really didn't have an answer for the schools issue and the children going to school in that area, because it was on the border of West Ada and Kuna School District. So I'm just wishing somebody could get to the bottom of that, because it seems that big a place might need some resources for the kids when they're waiting for the bus and all those other considerations that we should have for our kids, like a seat in the classroom. So just asking about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, Mr. Maybe you want to address the school side?
Gosh, I think that's awesome feedback, and what a great opportunity to talk about what we've got planned out there. We too think it would be incredible to have a school out in this site. That's why we are donating the land to have a K through 12 school at this project, located right in this area here. So that is going to be subject to a conditional use permit or a special use permit, I guess, in CUNA. We've made a public announcement that we're working with the Treasure Valley Classicals Academy, a public school, which is just an awesome, awesome opportunity. And if everything goes right, that school is going to be open in 2026. Very excited about that. So we agree with you. And so that's why we're doing something about that.
Yeah, I think they presented about that last,
It was a
Yeah.
couple months ago. So the charter school aside, is it in the West Ada boundary?
It's in the West Ada boundary. It's interesting. The site is bifurcated along this section line is the boundary between CUNA School District and West Ada. So it will be on the West Ada side of that section line, right on the boundary with CUNA School District, which also makes putting a school site in the project difficult because, you know, you're sort of splitting the people, and with a charter, you don't have that problem, which is a great opportunity there.
Yeah, it was good that they were including CUNA and West Ada kids.
Absolutely, yep, so it'll be open
CUNA
to
and
both,
Meridian, I guess.
yep, at no charge. Yeah.
Okay, further questions for Mr. Tate?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Troy, and I'm not sure if that's because this is a rezone, but I didn't see a letter from West Ada in the SharePoint. Oh, letter of any kind of endorsement.
For the record, this is Troy Buchanan. That's because this is not in West Ada School District.
This part isn't, the school that they're talking about.
Just this part?
Yeah.
This project is not in the West Ada School District. It's near the boundary, but it's not in, yeah.
So if I'm,
I misunderstood that it was, yeah.
so if I'm hearing what you're saying, what percentage of this map that we're looking at right now is in CUNA School District?
For the record, Troy Buchanan. Everything you see on the screen right now is in the CUNA School District. Sorry, in the, sorry, what is it, the 11, yeah. Everything that you see on that screen is in, it's the K,
So
section K and.
the school district boundary runs along this property boundary and then cuts through this 160 acres.
Yeah.
So this 160 acres is in West Ada School District, along with this whole area to the north.
So
And-
97%.
Yeah, the preliminary plat in front of you is in CUNA School District. That school site that I was describing, which would be located right here, falls within the West Ada School District boundary. That's part of the confusion, I think. So all of D is 55 and older. There will be no kids, but they're still gonna pay property taxes to the CUNA School District. And then parcel J is not 55 and older. And that's roughly 25% of the units, I think.
And the only school that we have approved or planned right now is actually going to be in West Ada, physically.
It will be in West Ada, but since it's a public charter, students
It's
from
open.
either district would be able to attend it. So anybody within the project, any kids within the project could attend it.
Thank you.
any other questions?
I don't know, would it be, do you guys want to explain the options, or Doug, or Mark, or? Whereas it is already an approved project and we're just looking at rezones. I think it'd probably be good to clarify that.
Yeah, so for the record, Doug Hanson, CUNA Planning and Zoning. Just to be clear, also, I want to ensure that everything that goes into decision-making tonight is just within that red boundary that we're currently seeing on our screen, this preliminary plat. The charter school, while it's great, that needs to be cast aside. That's not something where we should be deciding upon anything tonight based upon that. So that's number one. Number two, this preliminary plat is in compliance with the approved development agreement from 2019. So at this point, we're really just technically reviewing this application. It meets all of the zoning requirements that were approved as a part of the DA.
Thank you.
Anyone have any more questions? I make a motion that we close the evidence presentation and move to deliberation.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Well, basically, you look at what the product is and
Yeah, they've been working out there for a while, so.
And it's nice, if you haven't drove through there, do, man, it's incredible.
Matt, do you have anything? John? I make a motion that we approve case number 2305 ZC and 2306S.
Second.
motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Item 8A, Gallica Heights, request for reconsideration. Doug Hanson.
For the record, Doug Hanson, CUNA Planning and Zoning. You have a memo from staff in your packets going over the request for reconsideration for the Gallica Heights subdivision. Rather than rehashing the entire thing, I will just read section 5, which is the staff recommendations, which it is staff's opinion that some degree of reconsideration of the decision is warranted. Most notably, the decision does not presently include any discussion of the actions the applicant could take to obtain approval of the applications in the future. Staff feels the applicant has correctly identified that this discussion needs to be included in the decision. It's staff's opinion this single subject of reconsideration could be adequately addressed through additional council deliberations. In the event council desires to reconsider other portions of the decision the applicant has identified, staff recommends the matter be reopened for public hearing and remanded back to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And with that, I will stand by for any questions.
Okay, questions for Doug? It seems to me the cleanest way is to send this back to planning and zoning.
For transparency purposes, I agree.
So basically, vote to approve the request and remand it back to planning and zoning.
Anybody else have anything else? I make a motion that we approve the request for reconsideration and send it back to planning and zoning.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Mark?
I'm just going to
yes.
need to clarify, because in the memo too from staff, it talks about no specific procedures are set forth in state code or city code for how the application will be processed on reconsideration. So I think just a point of clarification in the motion that it will be sent back to planning and zoning for additional public hearing, because otherwise it's, in what form is it going back and what will planning and zoning do with it? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so just some clarity on that it's being sent back in that manner would be appreciated, because I'll have to meet with Doug, we'll have to write your decision on this reconsideration. We want to be clear when we write that, how it's going back.
So I make a motion that we send the request for reconsideration for Galaga Heights back to P and Z for a public hearing.
That work?
Second.
All right, motion and a second. So that'll be a substitute motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the substitute motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? That motion carries, making the original motion null and void. Item B, consideration to approve using Omnia Partners, who is an association that offers goods and services as a result of competitive solicitation process to purchase playground equipment. Bobby Withrow.
Mayor, council, for the record, Bobby Withrow, 371 West Shoreline, Keene, Idaho. Through state code, we are able to participate in cooperative purchasing. We have done this with vehicles and some other things in the past, and in order to do it, we need your approval to use such partners as Omnia. And they basically go through and solicit the goods and services, and then brings us back the best price possible. By doing this, we somehow seem to get a discount. So that also helps us in the long run. Other government entities use them all the time, like the fire district. Sometimes they piggyback off each other for fire trucks, so it's pretty much all I'm asking. I stand for questions.
Okay. Question?
Bobby, this is for future purchases?
Councilman Laraway, this is for a purchase of playground equipment. As soon as you, if I get approval, we'll order it right away and get it in at Patagonia Park, also known as Fitzroy.
And is this only to use them one time?
I believe we can use them in the future, because we are approving them. But if we do, I'll probably bring it in front of you again, just so everything's on the up and up.
It does add them to our list as a.
Approved vendor. Anything?
Okay.
Matt? I make a motion that we approve using Omnia Partners. How would you like this stated, Mark?
I'd say that Omnia Partners be added as an approved cooperative purchasing association that the city may utilize, something along those lines. Because what you're doing is ultimately adding them to a list of approved cooperative purchasing associations, so. And I'd add, if anybody has any questions about what those are and why they're utilized, I'd be happy to do my best to answer them, or answer that.
Make a motion that we approve Omnia Partners to be added as an approved cooperative association.
Cooperative Purchasing Association.
Cooperative Purchasing Association.
Second stands.
All right, still second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
I have a,
Okay, I'll give you a moment at the very end if you don't mind. Okay. Thank you very much. You bet.
I have a quick
Okay.
question
Yes.
for Bobby, since we were talking about parks. How's it coming over there at Patagonia?
Councilman Bruce, it's coming along pretty good, and we're well beyond the point of ordering the playground and get everything else done. We gave them concrete samples today, so here in the next probably week or so, they'll be doing concrete and asphalt.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Beck.
No, you're fine. All right, that takes us to item 9A. Consideration to approve ordinance 2024-06, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cuna, making certain findings and repealing and replacing Title V of the Cuna City Code and repealing Title VI of Cuna City Code and providing a severability clause and directing the city clerk and providing for an effective date. One thing of note on this, I saw that there was a Middleton City Council member that presented to the Cuna School District about no more building when there's no more room in schools. This change that we've made here actually addresses that in 5-8-103 and also in 5-8-104. It gives you the ability to deny on projects based on an inability to serve by the school districts. So same as if we couldn't provide water or sewer, you would have that same power. But this ordinance change does actually address that, so we're actually ahead of the game of what Middleton's trying to do there. Anyway,
What would you guys like to do?
Consider to waive the 3 readings.
Make a motion that we waive 3 readings of ordinance 2024-06.
Second.
motion's made and seconded to waive the 3 readings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 2024-06.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Nathan, would you poll the council?
Mayor, do you want to do the, oh, never mind. Councilmember McPherson.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Laraway.
Yes.
Council President Bruce.
Aye. Yes.
And that motion carries.
I make a motion that we approve the summary publication of ordinance 2024-06.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries.
Is that what you're going to ask? Okay.
All right, if council does not object, we will back up to the public comment portion and allow this gentleman to speak. If you would, let me have you sign in. I gotta get the right sheet. I appreciate the opportunity. Well, I'm gonna guess you prayed about it, and that gives me no choice. Yeah, anyway, they're just name and address. Thanks, sir. And then if you would just repeat that again out loud this time.
But there we go. Yeah, I'm Richard Gerard from Cuna Lutheran Church. Our address there is 128 East Porter Street. And what I'm here tonight for is to ask for some consideration. We've been, as you guys probably know, seen, we've been working on the church for the almost last 2 years. We're getting down to the end, but the issue I bring to you tonight is that we haven't been able to get our sewer line even started. Actually, I think they may be getting started. But we've been trying since the first year to get Sunrock to install the sewer line that they have given us the bid. They haven't done it. However, about 6, 8 weeks ago, they did come out and install a water line and hook up to the city water. But since there's no sewer, the water crews locked up the meter. We have no access to that water, and obviously we have no access to the sewer. However, we have the last 2 months received bills from the city for water and sewer. It just seems a little out of reason that we're paying for sewer, that we haven't even got the sewer line hooked up to the city. So that's my request is, money's tight for us, and to pay another $400 a month for services that we couldn't even possibly use. I mean, how would you guys feel about going to a house, your house being told, well, we're going to start charging utilities, but we haven't put the sewer line to your house yet. So that's my issue. I've tried to resolve that with the utility department. I get told that that's just the way it's set up. And so I guess I'm at a point that my remedy is to see if there's any resolution that we can talk about with the city council. And with that, I appreciate that consideration.
So just a question, the sewer line that needs to go in, who is responsible for that?
We're actually putting it in. Originally, we were going to have to put in a septic tank, and then Public Works changed their mind and said we could. We can access sewer to our northeast corner. Actually, we have to go into the neighbor's property. There's a sewer line stubbed out there, so we can connect to that. But the Public Works decided that the 8-inch line wouldn't be a city line as we first thought. So we are installing that sewer line. And we got bids last fall, but they didn't want to start till after the first year. They're busy, so here we are.
I thought that's what I understood, but I didn't remember. So the only issue here is that you're being billed for water, sewer, and not able to use it.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. All right, we'll see what we can do about that.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your consideration, and we look forward to opening our church here. We're, just as a quick comment, we're the first Lutheran church in southern Ada County. So-
Yes, you are.
What was your name, sir? What was your name?
Richard Gerard.
Thank you.
All right, very good. That's all we had on the agenda. Is there anybody who had any announcements you wanted to make?
Just want to say Zamzo's Park looked great. Thanks for sharing the, got baseball people all over CUNA ready to use it.
That is awesome.
Yeah, they are. I get at least a call a week about it, so I'm gonna give them your number. Let them call Bobby.
A call a week
Just
because
from
they don't like it?
different baseball people, asking when it's gonna open, when can they use it?
As soon as the irrigation's on.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Good.
All right, well then with that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.